you ever been stood there, chatting to the press, and then someone slaps you over the back of the head with an egg? No, me neither. I mean, that's why I try not to talk to the press. Too many trigger-happy people out there for my liking. Not to mention the obvious bias the mainstream media have been showing of late. I remember when they used to just report the news, you know? Now it's current events with more than a dash of here's what you should think, and if you don't, you're literally Hitler. For those of you wondering, or those of you who maybe want to see a video which does not praise the actions of a food-wielding teenager, I'm referring, of course, to Egg Boy, a 17-year-old Australian who thought it would be a good idea to smash an egg on the back of an Australian politician's head. He very quickly learned that there are indeed repercussions from such a thing, and I hope won't be doing it again. Although, judging from how the internet has reacted to it, someone else definitely will. Let's have a look. Here's Senator Fraser Anning having a calm word with the press and giving his point of view on the terrible and tragic shooting in Christchurch. But it's not a popular point of view, and it seems one lad has taken exception to his words. So he quickly hits record on his phone before doing this. Oh! Kid's got balls, I'll give him that. Most people would just launch it from afar, but he got right in there. Probably thinking, hey, he can't touch me, I'm a minor, and I'm recording him. Well, my dear lad, you're about to learn a lesson in consequences, because as it turns out, you can't really go around egging people without getting a reaction. And that reaction will generally be the same thing every time. You're gonna get clocked. Do that to someone in the street and you'll likely get a good kick in too. Not just that, but if you decide a senator is your target, you're gonna get a couple of people pin you to the ground and choke you out as well. Lesson learned, eh? Well, no, actually, because as you can expect, the story's been picked up by some of those journalists we keep hearing about.
Egg Boy becomes viral hit after egging controversial Australian politician.
Yep, a viral hit. One of those good viral hits too, not like those where people freak out in public like Superman or that girl who wailed when President Trump was inaugurated. It also makes me wonder how these same people would react if someone lobbed an egg at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They'd probably want the perpetrator locked up. You see, there's no fairness with these types, is there? It's very much a team sport for them, and it's one rule for them and theirs, and quite another for you and yours. This is why I end up making these videos, not because I'm on one particular side of anything, but because the hypocrisy is just everywhere, but we'll get to that in a bit.
A teenager dubbed Egg Boy has become the talk of the internet after he threw an egg at an Australian politician who blamed Muslim immigration for the Christchurch terror attack.
Now, I'm not going to get into my thoughts on what the guy said, because I'm of the mind that people can say whatever they want. I'm not condoning his words, but as long as it doesn't incite violence, you do you, mate. Rather, I'm condemning the actions of the boy. It may be my liberalism speaking, but the politician is allowed his own views just the same as anyone else. You don't have to agree with him, but you shouldn't assault him either. There does seem to be a worrying rise of people ready to swing their handbags because they disagree with someone, such as that professor who almost caved someone's head in with a bike lock. I mean, this is the current year, people, not the beer garden of a Wetherspoons pub. Not sure if it can also be considered an act of terrorism, actually. I mean, it is, legally, assault, and done because he doesn't agree with his political views. That's pretty close to the actual definition of the word, but I'll read on.
The 17-year-old rose to fame after he was captured splatting the egg on Queensland Senator Fraser Anning during a television interview, prompting a scuffle in which the youngster was twice punched and then restrained.
Well, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Did he really expect the guy to just laugh it off and go, oh, you wily knave, you, boys will be boys? It was an attack, and one designed to publicly humiliate as well. What other reason was there for him to film it on his phone? It reminds me of the old days when happy slapping was a thing. You'd be walking along and some dickhead would crack you across the chops. And if that wouldn't make you angry enough, you'd turn around to see his mates laughing as they filmed it on their phones and upload it to the internet. I'm surprised no one got killed over that. And while we're looking back, let's take a brief look back to 2001 when a protester thought it would be such a good idea to throw an egg at British Member of Parliament John Prescott. Here's Big John in the red tie just walking along doing his thing. Here comes the guy with the egg and oh, John ain't having any of your shit. Some nice self-defense there, J to the P. Not what you expect from a fat guy in a suit, is it? Now, what's the difference between the two? Well, camera quality quality mainly. It's impressive how far we've come, isn't it?
Police said the boy was arrested, but was released without further charge pending a further investigation.
That's cool. I love a bit of further investigation. In the case of Prescott's egging, the guy wasn't charged. I mean, I like to think he had learned his lesson, you know? But here's what didn't happen afterwards. He wasn't hailed as a hero. Maybe it was just the times, but we didn't really encourage egg-based violence back then. The current year, though, ho ho!
Egg boy who took on racist Aussie senator hailed as a hero.
Yep, that's right. We're now encouraging this. It all goes back to the punch a Nazi thing, doesn't it? Now, I'm not really a fan of Nazis, but I do think persecuting someone for their views and beliefs is a bit of a Nazi thing to do. I mean, they were quite big on that, weren't they? Honestly, I don't know who the real Nazis are nowadays. Is it the people with incredibly far-right views, or the people that inflict violence upon them for holding those views? It's a thinker. And here's another thing to ponder. Everyone remembers the Covington boys, right? Some teenage lads attend a rally over abortion, and this Native American guy wanders over and starts banging his drum in the kid's face. What does the kid do? Stands his ground, doesn't say a word either, just smiles. And the reaction? Oh boy.
MAGA kids go into the wood chipper. Disney producer tweets violent threat against Covington boys.
And here's that tweet. Nothing beats the wood chipper. Nice shout out to Fargo there too. But is it satire or a call to violence? You decide. Here's another headline describing them as racist brats, oddly filed under racial justice. Pretty strong stuff. And we all know Kathy Griffin was calling for their docs. Not sure why. Maybe she wanted to release their details. Maybe she's just desperate to stay in the public eye. Knowing her, it could be either. Or both. Here's one that suggests it was actually the hat's fault. So he was to blame because of what he was wearing? Oh yeah, he was dressed so provocatively, Your Honour, he was asking for it. Yet another blue checkmark on Twitter looking for the personal details of a group of minors, one of them going so far as to explain that a facial expression is weaponized privilege. And this guy told his followers to shoot the boys on sight. That account hasn't been removed either. His 35,000 followers saw him actually incite violence and his account is still up. The mainstream media didn't even drag him through the filth like they did the Covington boys. But that's probably because standing motionless and smirking at someone is a way bigger crime than encouraging tens of thousands of people to shoot a group of teenage boys. So that's a small glimpse at the public and media reaction to the boys, while on the other side of the coin, this lad gets nothing but praise and support for what is essentially vigilantism with an egg. And a few GoFundMe pages, one of which is currently worth $39,000. Now, it might just be me, but is this fucked up? I mean, no matter how you look at it, the kid assaulted someone. You can sit there and go, but it was just an egg. Doesn't matter. Still assault. The Covington boy did nothing but smile, but that was still racist. You can sit there and go, but he was just 17. Well, the lad from Covington was just 16. That didn't stop a lot, and I mean a lot, of people calling for his personal details, did it? It didn't stop them from saying they wanted him dead or telling people to shoot him on sight. It sure as hell didn't stop the mainstream media from painting him as some kind of Hitler youth. And you can sit there and say, but what the guy was saying was bad. He deserved it. But then we're getting into some perilous territory, aren't we? We shouldn't be praising the boy's behavior. That would give the very dangerous message that it's okay to assault people based on their words, to turn a verbal situation into a physical one. I hope we can all agree that isn't a world we want to live in. No one would be safe. As long as someone out there disagrees with your views and outlook, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you'd have a target on your back, no matter where you go. And in the light of what happened at Christchurch, you'd think we'd know better than to call someone a hero for assaulting people based on their beliefs. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider becoming a patron because I get the feeling bulletproof vests are going to be necessary soon. And check me out on BitChute where you can watch the same content, just not on YouTube. The links are in the description, and remember, PETA are being real quiet about the use of an egg, aren't they?